I want to ask you something. How long have you been working on your film? I've been creating projects for 20 years and have been producing film for a decade. And this is a question I'm always asking filmmakers. And the honest answer, the one people don't really like to say aloud, that is always the answer, at least to one of them, that leads me to exactly why you might be feeling stuck. Over the next 20 episodes, including this one, I'm going to walk you through the producing questions that every filmmaker needs to ask themselves and will help them prevent themselves from getting stuck. And my point is not to make anyone feel bad. It's to actually point out that quiet frustration that gets in the way of filmmakers realizing their dreams and being able to see their projects through to distribution and maybe make a little money on the side. I'm your Moria Wright. I've been producing creatively for 20 years, and for the past decade, I've been producing film. That production work has led me to become a 2024 HBO Short Film Competition Award winner and a 2025 NAACP Image Award nominated producer. So I've seen some things. And I'm here every week with one goal: to give you context, to give you information, and to empower you to move your projects forward. Welcome to the Producer's Blueprint. Let's get into it. So here's what I see all the time for the past 20 years. Filmmaker gets inspired. Filmmaker gets everybody else excited about their vision. They spread the word, they tease it a little bit on social media, they're hyped up, okay? And then all of a sudden, life happens. They enter into a different season. Maybe they have a new relationship. Maybe they need to get a 9-to-5 job. All sorts of things make their life different. I won't say harder, different. But the more different their life becomes, the more sensitive they become to their dream and their film becoming further and further away, and their goals becoming further and further out of reach. I know this pattern because I lived it. Check this out, right? In 2019, I wrote this project called It Stays Here, a short film. It's the prequel to Love My Roomie. Neither here nor there. So in 2020, like early 2020, we were doing location scouts. I mean, we had our location in upstate New York, all the things we were ready to shoot. We were having pre-production meetings. We were fully cast because I had cast it back in like the summer of 2019. And then the pandemic hit. And then life kept happening. And then I was building Inside Out Podcast, season 1. And I made all sorts of excuses along the way as to why I could not get that project off the ground. But the reality is, I got distracted. I was focusing on other things, seeing Love My Roomie through post-production. Then all of a sudden in May 2021, I had this bright idea based off of a short scene I was writing for an actress to create my short film, Don't Be Desperate. And in the spring of 2025, I looked back and I said, what happened to It Stays Here? I mean, literally 4 years had passed without me ever even thinking about the project, really kind of like 5 years. And I saw emails that were kind of just stopped. And I realized I totally forgot about the project. And so the accountability when it comes to that, whether it was good, bad, or in between, indifferent, life happened. I lost the vision, and it's a very strong project, which probably could have gotten me very far. And in fact, several months after I picked it back up last year, it did get me far. It got me to the finalists of a big short film competition. But if I never picked it back up, I would have never known. And there doesn't have to be a dramatic reason. The reality is, life happens, and sometimes projects that we might feel really passionate about just don't seem to hit. They're not as exciting, or things make it seem like it's just not going to be relevant, and we take detours. And maybe we put our work and our love and our heart into other things. It could be other films, it could be other projects. But the point is, this vision that we held so dear starts to kind of like slip through our fingers. It begins to drift. That's not a character flaw. It's a producing problem. And I'm going to help you figure out how to get to the other side and maybe bring back, resurrect some projects that you've buried in your vault, the vault of your mind. Maybe they're, collecting scripts, collecting dust on your shelf, whatever that is. We're going to walk through that. And hopefully by the end of, if not this episode, by the end of episode 20, at the very end of this season, you'll be ready to pick that project back up. So what creates this friction within us, right? It comes down to three things in my experience. And so I'm going to call this the producer clarity test. Trademark. Not yet. That's about to be, so don't try me. Okay, so I'm going to look at my notes, and then on the screen here, I'm going to guide you through this, okay? So I'll help those who like to see everything right in front of them. I'm like that. So a lot of filmmakers can describe their story, right? But can they tell you anything about the opening scene, the stakes, the ending? So if I ask people, what kind of film is this? That's when it can kind of get murky, fuzzy. I want people to think about this. Is it a contained thriller? Is it a character-driven drama, right? Is it a festival short? Is it a proof of concept? You get the picture here. And these distinctions, they shape everything around your film, okay? They shape the scale, they shape the budget, they shape even how you're going to approach your target audience or how you're going to approach different social impact partnerships, etc. And when that isn't clear, especially to you, the project starts to lose focus. It starts to drift. It starts to fall apart because your project needs to have a foundation. It needs to have a center. And without that, anything can make it just sway in the wind. Anything can make it fall apart. It's like building your project on sand. Nah, you need to build it on something strong, and you need to build it on a strong foundation. All right, so now we're going to move on to question 2. Who is this actually for? If you have the Plan Like a Pro blueprint, there's an entire section dedicated to this. So I don't mean everyone, by the way. Your project can't be for everyone. If a lot of people love it, that's amazing. Congratulations. But it literally cannot be for everyone. Okay, that can be the intended audience. Okay, so let me walk you through some of this information here. So I know that, of course, this is not what you want to hear. But for films to move forward, you're going to need to take note of who your specific community is, okay? And your specific audience. And that's going to be the group of people that you feel personally connected to, all right? And when you know who that is, that's going to tailor how you approach your project. And when I mean how you approach your project, I literally mean how you cater your project to your audience. It might even influence the color palette for your project. Seriously, if you know you have an audience that's like, they like electrifying colors, maybe your film's a dance film, but it's like, I don't know, set in Coachella or something like that, right? Set against the backdrop of a festival like Coachella, then it's going to be very vibrant, right? It would be really kind of odd if you have muted tones to your film unless you're like trying to convey a very specific message that is like kind of playing against what the vibe of Coachella is. So I want you to really understand who your audience is, who they are, to create a profile in your audience. Everything that you do after that is literally predicated off of this. You're building your foundation. And I know people might just say, okay, well, Yumoria, I just want to write my project. Like, girl, I'm an artist. I get it. If you are the writer, director, producer, multi-hyphenate extraordinaire, then you're going to have to switch hats. This is the producer's blueprint. So this is either going to be the blueprint for you as a producer, or you can go ahead and pass this episode along to your producing friends. But we're putting our producer hats on here. So we have to think creatively, of course, but we are going to think as logically as possible because what we're interested in is the longevity of this project, okay? So now let's move on to question number 3. Do you know what happens after this film gets made? I mean, after your editor exports your 4K, 2K, 1080 beat, do you know what happens after the film is made? Let's get into some details. Okay, so things I want you to consider. You're going to see it on the screen right now. Are you considering a festival run, streaming? Is this a proof of concept for a series, a proof of concept for a feature film? For producers, I want you to be thinking about this from day one. The moment you sign on to this project, you have to ask this of your creator. You have to ask this of your creatives, and they will not always have the answer. But and especially when you are in the phase of asking for finances, seeking finances, or preparing for crowdfunding, it's great when you can speak to where the project is going. I know that it can feel tempting to just say something's a proof of concept because, you're just like not sure yet. Some people might really want to reward you for making a short film or might really think that it's great that you're, making a visual. You don't have to say everything is going to be something bigger. That's my point. But if it is going to be something, I don't even like the word bigger because, like, a short film can be big. But if it's going to be something more expansive, if you're going to, continue to write the story, then you do need to be clear on that. And you want to get clear on that as soon as possible because it does impact even the financing you can seek, how you write your cover letters. I hope you're writing cover letters for your festival submissions, etc. Okay? So take note of that. We're going to move on now. If we went through those questions and you had a challenging time getting through even one of them, it does not mean that you are, lacking in vision. It just means that you might not be as prepared to see your project through. It means that you potentially are just focused on the joy of making the project. I'm not saying that's wrong. It means that you could be focused on festivals. I'm not saying that's wrong. But it also means that you might not be thinking about the project in terms of business, right? How it's building your career. And quite frankly, especially for independent filmmakers who are really my target audience for this podcast, we want to be able to give our crew, our cast, something just beyond, a great credit on IMDb or a nice check, right? For our projects that we know are passion or we're pouring love into them. When we have a vision for that project, that's also a gift for the cast and crew. When they can say, that project that I was on, it went somewhere special. And it went somewhere special not by chance. It went somewhere special because the team behind it was intentional all along. Sit with that. Okay, so on to the good news, because I've done all this warning, warning, warning. Let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about how to fix it. We're producers. We're all about solutions here, okay? So now that you understand where there might be gaps in the vision for the project or even the communication amongst the team, that means that you have, and this word is like so used now, but I'm just going to say it anyways. It means you have clarity. I need a thesaurus. Like, I need another word other than you're clear. Like, you know what you're doing. I need another word. I'm going to incorporate it into future episodes because I'm so exhausted of the word clarity. But you are clear. That means you have clarity, okay? So the question might be, okay, Amoria, thank you for putting me on blast. What do I do about it? Maybe you're already in the thick of a project, or maybe this has really made you slow down, and maybe it's made you think about considering hiring a producer. I don't know, but I want to just guide you through how to get through the muck and to think about how to solution from here, right? The solution. So here's what I want you to do. Referring to my notes, I want you, well, first to take 20 minutes. And if y'all know, I'm big on taking 20 minutes to just step back, okay? 20 minutes, find a comfortable place, get some tea, some water, hydrate. And I want you to just really sit quietly. I'm all about the self-care for the creative, right? Center yourself, okay? And I want you to think about who this is for. Who's your audience? How do you want them to feel after the credits for this film roll? How do you want them to feel? Additionally, on here, I've added, what does the path look like after it's made? So after there's three versions of a film, right? There's what you write, there's what you shoot, and there's what you edit. So after we finish that third version of the film, it's edited, you feel comfortable with what you've got, or you know what you've got is the best version of this story. I want you to then think about the path after it's made, Okay. Is that distribution by way of film festivals, by way of streamers? That can be independent streamers, or you could shoot for the moon and think of, a Netflix, a Hulu. I'm not here to limit you. Um, Also, I want you to think about what that looks like on independently distributing that. There is a lot of filmmakers doing their thing here on YouTube. Okay. I really want you to think expansively about this. And so, for those of you who don't have the Plan Like a Pro blueprint, I'm also going to drop a little gem here. In this, we also discuss um, what where people or projects that you really, admire, where did those people go with the projects? Where did those projects go? Being able to observe that, and not in a way of coveting or comparing yourself, but of thinking like, I like where that project went. And when you know that it's similar to your project in some capacity, hoping that you're looking at projects that are similar in some capacity when you do this work, it can begin to inspire you to think outside the box about how success for your project looks. So here's the takeaways I hope you have from this episode. Producing is not just about logistics. It's not just about permits and insurance, although those things are definitely involved in producing. It's about the clarity work. It's about understanding why the project exists and where the project is going, and also being able to predetermine and kind of get ahead of that and think outside the box about where the project could go and the ways to get there. And I understand that these strategic questions are, again, they're not cute, right? They're not fun for a lot of people because we're creatives. Most of us who are multi-hyphenates out there are producing because we found our way to producing because we just wanted to get our work made. It's not the cute stuff, but it is the important stuff, especially when you are independently building a career that can be sustained across years and across decades. My goal is to take you from someone who's produced a really great project, maybe even a couple of really great projects, or someone who's just thought about producing some great projects, making their own work, taking you from being excited about work, which I want you to keep, but also moving you towards being excited, but also being equipped to do something about your own career. So that even if it feels like the entertainment industry is changing and there is no hope, you can understand at the end of the day that you have such a strong vision for your projects, for each project, that you can see it through time and time again. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the one decision that can take your entire project to the next level before you even shoot it. So stay tuned. I'm Yamoria Wright. This is the Producer's Blueprint. Take what helps, leave what doesn't.